Hey, all, welcome to Geek Freaks. I am Frank, and today I'm joined by Joey Galvez. How you doing?
How's it going, man?
Good, good, good. We're gonna be talking about Geek Collective and everything you're doing over there. Joey is, oh God, what is it like? 7 jobs in one, right? Tell us a little bit about Geek
Oh,
Collective and what you do.
yeah, man. So Geek Collective is so right now we are an advertising agency, but we also have a podcast arm. We are beginning our publishing arm. We also we're starting to kind of get our crawling at pace going on there with the streaming side of things as well. So we're trying to do all kinds of good stuff, right? But the biggest one that's going on right now is we're about to launch our publishing side of things. We are in talks with all kinds of really cool people to bring on some stories and stuff like that. We have some really cool stuff with Band of Bards that we're going to be doing. We're going to have some really cool variants dropping with
Mhm.
our branding and all that good stuff on it. So we have got some really cool stuff going on, man.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, it's just so much work, but it's just so cool to watch everything that's coming out from you guys. Um, a couple familiar faces for those who are listening to Geek Freaks. Hocus Hocus. You guys work with Hocus Hocus, of course, one of our
Yeah.
favorite comic books around here. What is it that you guys? How do you help them, and what do you do with them?
So I help with their marketing and public relations. So I basically book them on podcasts and I build press kits and send it out to everybody and kind of just boost and all that good stuff. I also help build the Kickstarter pages and all that good stuff. So I do the whole thing, man.
Yeah,
So and hopefully we're hoping when we get these guys out to some cons, we can go out there and represent them too. So
that'd
we
be
got
cool.
really cool stuff in plans for that.
Yeah. So before like we day one of the Kickstarter, how long are you working on that campaign to get that thing every? Because there's so many facets to it.
Oh
How
man.
much time are you
So
putting in?
so these guys they're putting out books like every couple of months, right?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
And what's funny is we have a Kickstarter running. I'm beginning the next Kickstarter that we have maybe like 3 or 4 months down the line, building that Kickstarter then. So when we have one running, I'm still working behind the scenes building the next Kickstarter
Yeah.
and it's pretty wild and stuff like that. We have all the guys working behind the scenes too and all that good stuff. Like we just ended Pocus Hocus Volume 2, the first issue in the second arc. And we had the guys working on Grandma Chainsaw 2 and we
Yeah.
have the script for 3 as well. So we're kind of thinking in this big picture like we want to get into this motion where we're getting things out every 2 months so that you guys are getting these things really good. We're also going to be doing the offset thing, you're going to get
Yeah.
Pocus and then you're going to get Grandma Chainsaw and then you're going to get Pocus again. So we kind of planned this stuff out like literally like in the middle of last year. So the way we do things is we kind of just group together and kind of discuss it and think about it how it would like how the next year is going to go and if so far it's worked.
Yeah. And that's just with one project, guys. I mean, there's so many. You've got Badass Girls, which we have an interview with them coming out later on this year. Fantastic group. I mean, that's I tell you, if there's anything I'm going to pick to be a Netflix series real soon, it's
Yeah,
that Badass Girl, right? That's so good.
yeah, it's such a great book. Like I found them just walking through my con here out in Phoenix.
Hmm.
It's called Phoenix Fan Fusion. And I was like, they have a really cool look. The banner looks awesome. And I went to go talk with them a little bit and I read through the book and I said, this is great. I love this work. Let's I gave them my information and then they called me back and we started talking a lot more. They sent me, gave me some more books, and I was like, "Well, let's work together. Let's do something." And
Yeah.
we kind of we're gonna roll this book out through Kickstarter. They've already got the first few issues that they've done themselves
Hmm.
on Kickstarter, but this is gonna be issue 4. So they have all 4 issues already done, and it's ready to go printed. We're gonna also drop some new covers. I don't know if they talked to you about anything about those new covers and who was on there, but we got a Brian Belando cover
Oh
that's gonna be
baby,
dropping,
that's I'm gonna buy it. I'm a big Brian Belando fan.
and it's gorgeous. Oh my gosh,
I
it's
bet.
gorgeous. It's so freaking cool. And then we even have a Dexter Wee cover that's gonna be coming with that as well. So
Cool.
and we're gonna be dropping issues 1 through 4 and a trade paperback as well option
Yeah.
as well. So we've I just the team is awesome. Chris and Deb and Brand, they're all amazing people. They're really
Oh
cool.
yeah. It's amazing. I don't know how Deb does it. How she's able to take a story and build on it even more. And it's like, holy cow, how are you gonna?
Yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah,
pretty impressive. It's a really awesome team.
yeah. They're a very impressive group.
So, over there, you're sitting there, you manage them. That's just two comic books we heard about. There's so much more, especially in the works and behind the scenes. Um, and you're bringing a lot more attention to their product. And I love how you just mentioned Brian. You're mixing and matching team members to kind of bolster. Because I bet if you're just a comic book creator, you're like, I like to do variants, but where do I start? And here, boom,
Yeah.
you got a place to start.
Yeah, and he's such a fantastic guy, and he works so fast,
Mhm.
and it's like I didn't even give him any instructions on what to do. I was just like, dude, this is here's the story. I gave him books to read. He read through the book, and that's the one cool thing about Brian is
Oh
he
yeah,
actually reads the books and he gets the feel of the characters and he knows the characters and then he goes at it, right?
yeah,
And so I was like, dude, just do your thing, man. And
yeah.
I'll show you off air later,
All
but
righty. Ooh, I'm excited.
it's such a great cover.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, his panel work too is kind of ridiculous. Like the way he'll break these panels and you're like, oh, son of a gun, I'm in. He does such a
Yeah,
good
dude,
job.
he's a very smart guy when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah. All right. So we have, you got your public relations, you've got your comic book publishing arm, really. Um, your podcasting. You've got a network of podcasts. How this is kind of a rhetorical question at this point, but for my side, but how is it running a podcast network? What is it you're like day to day you're doing?
Dude, it's so fun. Like we started out as a podcast network. That's what we were. We built everything else upon it, and it just started with me and and a buddy of mine who and it was just literally just our own shows. Like he had
Yeah.
two shows and I had a couple of shows of my own, and and we just released it through there. We called and it was a different name at the time. We called it the 143 Podcast Network,
Hmm.
and we he built it off of like the Mr. Rogers philosophy, right? So I loved it. We were both part of a larger podcast network where we had to actually leave that network and we went off and broke off and done other stuff.
Yeah.
So we did that and then he got to a point to where his show was getting so big that he couldn't manage the network anymore. So
Yeah.
I kind of helped him out with it. He's like, you know what, you have a passion for this. I need you to handle this stuff. So I was like, okay, cool. And then eventually he's like, you know what, I'm just gonna sell it to you, sell you the business, sell you the names, and whatever you want to do with it. And I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, what am I gonna do with this, man? Like, I don't know
Yeah.
what I'm gonna do with a podcast network or whatever. So I found Age of Radio, and I spoke to my buddy over there, Jeremy. He's the CEO of Age of Radio. They are a large podcast network.
Oh
They
yeah.
have 100 plus shows.
We've got a lot of friends in
Uh,
them, a part of their network too. Yeah.
yeah, and then they're huge. Like right now, they've hit 1 million downloads in the last 3 or 4 years, right? So we ended up working out a deal with them to become a podcast network underneath their umbrella network.
Yeah.
So they're like our sister brothers network, whatever you want to call it. So so we're a part of the greater Age of Radio network, right? So but what we did was we brought on more podcasts. I helped build a lot more shows there. I helped them to build to a point where we got some really great shows and we grew to where we're able to get this 1 million downloads in a year. We're like,
Yeah.
holy crap, this is really cool. And I started building out my own podcast network and grabbing other, geeky shows and it kind of just snowballed from there. And I was like, okay, cool. This is really cool. I could do this. I already knew how to do all the stuff behind the scenes anyway, because that's what I did with Age of Radio.
Mhm.
I would bring on podcasts and send them all up and distribute. We have a team that does all that stuff and everything. So we worked out a deal with them to bring on shows and actually offer some revenue as well. So it was just a really cool thing that we did when we were partnering with them, and everything else kind of snowballed from there.
Yeah.
I had my show. I did interviews with comic book creators, and I ended up having just like you get a really cool Rolodex of really great creators, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what am I gonna do with it? They started hitting me up to promote them, and I was like, well, I can create a business out of this, and like
Yeah.
with the things that I know and the things that I could do, I think it could benefit some of these people. And I had obviously I had two people who backed me up on that, and it's Dave Lentz and and Alan Dunford, and they both backed me up. They said, "Dude, you can totally do this. Like, you got it, dude." So I, I built a business out of it, and here we are now, man. We're doing it all. It's crazy. I'm probably nuts, but we're doing it.
So we could cut this out, but I do have a question from Alan. He
Oh
knew I was
no.
going to interview you today.
Oh God. That's why he was asking me today.
Yeah.
Like,
So get ready. This is going to be real smart ass mode. Okay. He has. This is from Alan. Why do you keep blowing up my inbox with shit I don't want to read?
oh my gosh. Listen, that's what Alan Alan has become like my unspoken consultant, right?
Yeah.
Like every time that I receive these because I get these submissions, and that's one of those things that I was getting inundated with stuff. I was like, guys, I'm not a publisher. Why are you
Yeah.
guys sending me things? And I was like, well, you know what? Maybe I should be.
Exactly.
So I started sending him these things. I was like, dude, what do you think about these? What do you think about these? Like, come on, man, come on. It's like, but I'm like, all right, though. But I really think that so he's there kind of, to guide me a little bit and say, you don't have to take everything that comes at you. You
Yeah.
could be selective. And I also learned that from
It takes a while to learn that. That's a tough one to learn, actually. Yeah.
it is, and it really is. And I also learned that from Jeremy, right? Jeremy, the CEO of Age of Radio, he told me the same thing with podcasts. He's like, you could be selective and still go after the shows that you love,
Yeah.
and see if they want to, be part of the network and stuff like that. So, but so yeah, it's a little difficult. I'm still learning. I don't know everything, right? So I'm learning every day. But yeah, I always like bounce things off of Dave and Alan almost every day.
Yeah. I tell you what, speaking of Alan, I get texts all the time whenever he's drawing something or getting a drawing. And he's like, "What do you think about this? What do you think about that?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Cool, don't spoil it though. I want to read the whole thing." He always does that. He's like, "What do you think about this bad guy?" I'm like, "I don't know who that bad guy is, but now I know he exists. Thanks for that."
Yeah, I know he's a jerk. He needs like, hey, are you okay with spoilers? Because I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell you all these spoilers.
Or I always get like these not ash cans, but something like that, where it's like there's like 3 pages of like towards the back of the book. Like, I'm a fan of Hocus Hocus, by the way, buddy. I don't know if you know this or not, and you're ruining it now.
I know it's really hard sometimes when you find some really cool people in the
Yeah,
community. You're just like, they're just my friends. They're not
yeah,
podcasters. They're not. No, we're friends.
yeah. It's a really good group that Top
Yeah,
Hat and then everybody else too that we've been working with. You just find the passion and stuff like that. It's infectious, and you're in.
yeah.
And of course, you're doing that over here with the Geek Collective as well. With the running the network, running a podcast, I find like one of the hardest things is social media. I mean, it is
Oh
a
yeah.
time sink. How are you managing the social media for your network?
Oh man, it's really rough, right? I probably dropped the ball a lot for the network, right? but it's like, so what I do is I try to encourage my guys and gals to promote yourself, because the best person that is gonna be out your best cheerleader out there is gonna be yourself, right?
Yeah,
Because you know everything about your show, ins and outs and all that stuff. You're gonna be the best person for that. So what you need to do is you need to get out there in front, and don't let up. And that's the key. Even if you have episodes that don't even get any hits,
yeah,
put it out there anyway and continue to go back. If you want people to listen to it, show them, hey, remember this episode? Like, especially if it's comic book podcasting, where you
yeah,
have creators do it, so you're interviewing them. They might have another book coming out down the line that people like better than the other one, or vice versa. You could just be like, remember this time when I interviewed him about this book? Check it
yeah,
out. Right? So so you kind of have to, encourage them to kind of do things and not be discouraged. It's hard, man. It's like crowd, like everybody says, herding, cats.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
but
Scheduling the podcast nightmare.
but I think if they're their best cheerleader, you know what I
Yeah,
mean. But if the best thing I can tell you guys to do is, tag me, and I will see it, and I will retweet it and post it out for you.
definitely. Yeah. And the other thing that's really hard to kind of convey, because we have a lot of podcasters that listen to this podcast as well, so please use
Yeah,
this advice. You can't just keep posting out, "Hey, I got a new episode." Nobody's gonna care. You got to build a community. What are you
yeah,
talking about? Talk about what you're talking about on social media. I think I can't suggest it enough. So, which is
yeah.
something I like. I like being able to kind of see what Joey's talking about over there. Oh, let me respond to that. So
And that's the big thing, and that's I think that's the key, right? Building a community, right?
yeah,
Because that is what I did, right? I didn't jump
yeah,
into this. This is not my like I've been doing podcasting for like 5 going on 6 years, right? But before that, I was an audio engineer, since my son, he's like 13 now, so or
yeah.
12, so 13, 14 years I've been an audio engineer, right?
Mhm.
So I kinda dabbled in this world, and I was like, I fell in love with podcasts, about 6 years ago, and I just went crazy and podcasted every day and all that stuff.
Yeah,
I didn't let up, and I what I did was I built my community. My shows don't get hit. Listen, I'm gonna tell you guys right now, my shows probably each episode probably gets like 30 downloads.
mhm.
Not even I'm not even joke. And I've interviewed Brian Polito. I've interviewed all kinds of really great people, right? Like
Yeah,
that are like, but those episodes only but maybe hit 100 like after the life of it. But you know what? But so I have nothing to brag about numbers here, right? But what I did was I built my community for when people actually see something that I put out, they want to be involved because it's me, because they're my friends, or because they're part of my community and they
yes,
want to push things out for you. They were like, "Oh, I love that. I want," like you said, I want to see what Joey's doing now
yeah,
because he's always got something cool going on, right? And I
exactly.
always want to make sure that I know what's going on over there. Or I want to know what Frank and the geek freaks are doing because they're always got something cool going on, because that's where I'm going to go for my geek news, right? So like it's just don't let up and put yourself out there. It stinks.
Absolutely.
Don't worry about the numbers. Just put yourself out there.
Well, and there are people who are part of your community that aren't into podcasting or aren't into podcast. They're long form media, and I know that it takes a certain class or certain kind of person to do like podcasts. I'm one that consumes it all freaking day, but there are
Yeah.
some that aren't and want the short form. So I like we found. I feel like now this interview is becoming advice for new podcasters, but that's perfect.
Yeah.
If you're just using your stuff for one platform, you're doing it wrong. Go to TikTok, go to YouTube, I mean, you're creating one piece of content, share that thing across multiple
Yeah.
platforms in different forms. Like, oh my God, that's how you do it. There's some episodes that hit really big over here, and then I'll take a clip from that, I'll put it over there, and it just tripled. And I was like, oh, okay, so the audience for that was over there. I just didn't know that because everyone was
Right.
putting it in one spot. So,
And here's a cool tip that I like. I like to. It's all we get into this place, especially with podcasting, right? You get into this place where you're like, well, I'm gonna make this one TikTok video and I'm gonna push it out everywhere, right? And
yeah,
you're like, cool, okay, great. But then but you know, and that's great, right? And that's fun to do, especially if you're like it's too time consuming to create different things for each platform.
yeah,
But if you know your own numbers, you know that hey, this is gonna work better on TikTok. This is gonna work better on Reels. Maybe YouTube is better for this thing. So you can take the same clip, do different things with it,
that's
and
important.
do it in a different way, or find a different position, a different thing that would work better on Instagram or on
Mhm.
TikTok, and do it differently. But give people, because the one thing is, if I'm following you on TikTok, I'm probably following you on Instagram, and I don't want to
Yeah,
see this thing. I want to see something brand new from that same interview, and then I'm like, heck yeah, now I want to go listen to it or I want to go watch it, right?
yeah,
Because now I got two things that I'm really interested in now. You give me more, I
yeah.
want to be interested even more.
And the algorithm gods too like it better that way too, because
Yeah,
when TikTok algorithm sees that you put the exact same thing on YouTube Shorts, it's not going to perform as well. So I've learned that
right.
you got
Yeah,
to know, and they work differently too, because
yeah,
YouTube is owned by Google, which uses SEO for everything. So I mean, whatever script you were using to read for your YouTube Shorts, literally copy paste, put it in the comment or in the description, and you click on all that stuff. So,
yeah,
anyways,
yeah. Uh huh.
yeah.
Exactly.
We
And
should just
that
release this as a master class for new YouTubers. I'm loving this.
and every time that you put something into descriptions, use your hashtags, use your everything that pertains that to your show, put it there.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you're talking about Ant-Man, you better make sure you mention Ant-Man 4 times over in different forms. Marvel's
Yeah.
latest hero from Quantumania, like everything. Anyways,
Yep, yep.
um,
Oh my gosh, it's a whole job, man.
it
That's why.
is, and a lot of people don't realize it. They're like, "Oh, you're talking in front of a mic and you release it." Like, yeah, that's cute. That's what the co-hosts do, not what I do.
Yeah, I know. The co-host just to get to show up. Listen, I was a co-host, right? I
Yeah,
so I was a co-host of a Batman podcast, and I got to show up and just make fun of things and have fun, and then they edited. I was like,
yeah.
yes, this is the best ever, and then I didn't have to do anything else.
Yeah. But there's something about I think that, we mentioned it in the network because we have a few of them and we utilize them well. The anchor guys for each of the podcasts, that are like just the personalities. Like I drive around thinking about podcasting all day. So there's no way I'm going to go home and not want to work on it. So I think, we're definitely seeing that with you, Joey. You're just putting in so much time, so much effort and passion that, you're gonna keep pushing Geek Collective and everything else attached to it forward and forward, forward. Like Band of Bards, how lucky are they get to have you on board? Like that's just crazy. That's awesome.
They're free, they're awesome, right? Like they're doing some great things, right? And I think the decisions that they are making now, because now that I'm on the back end of things, that I can see
Mhm.
this stuff, I can see that they're making these really great decisions moving forward, right? And they kind of value my opinion and stuff, which is really cool, right?
Yeah.
I was recently, I recently worked with Scout as a social media marketing manager,
Oh
right?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
and they did some really great stuff there too, right? And I'm no longer there anymore. I'm obviously working with Band of Bards as their social media manager. But these things, these books that are coming out very soon are freaking fantastic. They have some great creators. Like I can't say like anything better. You're like their hashtag is comics doing good, and
Yeah.
they live up to it. So
Shout out to Scout though as well, because man, I really like their work as well. I mean, it's
yeah.
just a lot of good people you're working with around. So that is pretty amazing. Looking at everything else that you got coming forward for Geek Collective, what's your plans for the future? What is the end game for you?
So I got a pretty ambitious end game, man.
Yeah.
So I want to be a one-stop shop for comic book creators. If they want to publish their book,
Mhm.
if they want to kickstart it, if they want to print it, if they want us to just do some PR and some marketing, I want you guys to come to us, right? I also want to have a streaming network. We're already working on that. We have the podcasts. We have I want this thing to be just a whole, like I call it the Geek Collective for a reason, because I want not just me part of this. I want my whole community. Here's my thing, right? Like I don't know who said it, but I haven't made it till my family eats, right?
Mhm.
So and you all are my family, right? And I got to make sure that you guys eat, and I haven't made it until you guys eat. And when I can bring you guys on board to do the stuff that you guys are doing now for the Geek Collective, and we're all a community working together to bring
Yeah.
this stuff into people's lives, that's my end goal, right?
Yeah.
And I want it to be this community of love and respect and understanding, right? Like
Yeah.
this maybe it's a utopia and it may never happen, but that's my dream, man.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to that classic saying too of like when one floats, all floats, or when all boats float together, kind of thing like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're just seeing that uh, in the comic books I've seen you back up. These comic books are team based projects. No one creator's doing it all, and you can tell that like the moment that like say Brian does this amazing art, but then it's backed up by Jason's coloring that's just outstanding.
Yeah.
It's like boom, both elevated so greatly, and it just keeps going forward. And the thing is, the Greek Geek Collective doing it as a whole is really neat. That is pretty cool. Is there
Appreciate
anything
that.
else that you guys got coming up that you want to kind of give a sneak peek to the fans at home that you
Oh,
can? I know there's a lot that are on the back burner that you can't yet.
we got a couple of things that we are in early talks with. You know what I mean? So we have some creators that have done some really cool stuff with I'll listen, I can't say their names and I can't say
Right.
what we're talking about, but I will say who they've worked with. We have some people who've worked with Image that we're going to be talking to
Yeah.
about some stories. We have some people that has worked with Sumerian, which was Behemoth, and a handful of other things. So we're in early talks there, right? I've been here's another one for the Kickstarter people and the people. I've been having emails back and forth with Gemini Supplies.
Mm,
So I told you I wanted to be a one-stop shop for everything, right? So I'm in talks with them to work out some deals with them. If you know, so we're working with them to do that kind of stuff. Um, and then we're talking to some printers to maybe do some exclusive pricing as well. So we're forward thinking is kind of what we're doing and what's coming soon. So
yeah. The idea is that you go to Joey, you go to Geek Collective, and you're like, I don't know where to start.
yeah,
And they can go to you and you're like, I got your back. This is what we're gonna day one, you're gonna go head this direction, head that direction.
yeah,
There are so many people who are sitting there with a great idea and just don't know where to go. And I think that that's amazing that hey, go talk to Joey.
yeah. We're trying to
Yeah.
we're trying to do something like that, man. I don't know how successful we'll be, but
Yeah.
we'll try to.
It won't be from a lack of trying, that's for damn sure. Yeah. The hustle
Right,
is
right.
top notch. So I definitely respect that and everything like that. All right, Joey, let's end off by getting everybody pointed in the right direction. Where can people follow you and follow up on the Geek Collective?
Well, you can always go to geekcollective.net. That's where you can find everything about the network, about the everything. We have the podcast, we have all of our services are there. Where I'm gonna be it's listen, just you know, it's just me building the website. So if there's no shows there, that's my fault. I've been working. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I got to get better on with my website. But you can find me like the best place to find me is on Twitter, which is Joey Galves 1984. And just if you guys are looking for something, we're there. Geek Collectives on Twitter as well. It's underscore Geek Collective. So message one of those there. So
Yeah.
I also do a live stream every Wednesday with my really great friend of the family who is Ambrosia. She is Comics and Cupcakes on TikTok. We do a live show every single Wednesday about pop culture and all the geeky stuff that happens every single week. And that's at 9 p.m.
Nine.
EST.
Okay.
Yep.
You guys got to check that out. You'll post that on Twitter too. I've seen you guys bust that
Yeah.
out on Twitter so people can
Yeah.
follow along.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. It goes out everywhere.
That's the best way. That's what we are talking about before, guys. Don't just share to one platform. That's crazy. All right,
Yeah,
Joey.
they give me 8 spots, and I'm like, I'll push it out everywhere, man.
Yeah. I appreciate you coming on the show, man. I really do.
Hey, I appreciate you doing this, man. And listen. This is the first time that anybody's actually wanted to interview me, so I'm like, I appreciate this, dude. So that's pretty cool. I'm usually the one that doing the interviewing.
Yeah, right. Well, at least you got the equipment for it. See, that's the thing. It's easier when you're.
Hey,
It's not like when you're
yeah,
interviewing some guy who's got like the iPod mics. You're like,
like
oh, this is gonna sound rough.
Alan's horrible mic. Oh my
Oh
god.
God, yeah. Now,
Like
now he's got his
Alan.
own podcast, so he better be getting a better mic here pretty
You know
soon.
what? We're not going to talk about that podcast because that jerk didn't release it under the Geek Collective. So we're not going to talk
Or
about
Geek
that
Freaks
show.
Network. He's got two
Yeah,
network
we're
friends
not
that
going
he
to
can
talk
release
about
it on
that.
either.
Get
And
that
yeah,
guy.
yeah. I'm over here giving him good reviews. What am I doing?
I told him that he's forever banned from the Geek Collective.
Yeah. We're still open here at Geek Freaks Network.
Oh man, listen. Very soon, I'm gonna work it, man. Geek Freaks is gonna be part of the Geek Collective.
Oh God.
Even if you guys are still your own network, we're gonna be
The
part.
hustle is real, folks. The hustle is real.
Oh man, I
All
don't
right.
stop, man. I don't sleep.
Guys, go in the description right now while I'm on the mic with you. Click around, start following, start checking things out. Geekcollective.net. Do not miss out on it. And we'll talk about it, I guess, again when it comes out. So you guys will be able to click on our Twitter and follow everybody around. We will see you guys next week. Thank you for joining me. Bye.